There you go.
Okay, thanks.
Good evening. Thank everyone for coming this evening. My name is Marilyn Solomon. I'm an attorney located here in Winchester, Virginia. And presenting with me tonight is my associate, attorney Tom Ashton. We're going to be providing some information about bankruptcy, and then we'll open the floor to questions that anybody might have about bankruptcy. In general, bankruptcy provides a safety net for families that are having a hard time. It helps Americans protect their assets in the case of a financial disaster. And it's the only way to wipe out your debts that does not require the approval or the consent of the creditors. Bankruptcy instead uses the power of federal law to stop all debt collection and remove every debt the law permits it to remove. It is a true safety net in trying times. The practice of periodically forgiving debts is as old as the Bible and can be found, in fact, in Deuteronomy 15:1-2, which states, "At the end of every 7 years, you shall grant a release of debts." And bankruptcy used to be every 7 years, now it's every 8 years. But it's in these difficult financial times, in the midst of a recession that we may or may not be recovering from, on the heels of a financial foreclosure crisis, there's been a huge surge in bankruptcy filings. 30,000 filings a week, 1.4 million last year. The job of bankruptcy is to make sure that people who do fall on hard times have some assets they can keep to start over with and have a fresh start. So if you plan ahead, bankruptcy doesn't have to wipe you out. Many people can keep their home, car, retirement savings, children's college funds, personal effects, clothing, household goods, tools of trade, and thousands of dollars more, and still wipe out their debts and start over. Most get credit card offers after bankruptcy. It may not be a wise thing to take them, but life goes on without the overwhelming debt on you. Now, some people are facing bankruptcy because they overspend their budget. Most people end up in bankruptcy due to bad luck. Medical problems, sick children, they lose their job, or they have a divorce. Nearly 2/3 of bankruptcies are caused by medical problems in one way or another. Under federal law, if you file bankruptcy, you're entitled to keep your pension, your retirement accounts, an IRA up to $1 million, your children or your grandchildren's college funds, if you've deposited the money at least 2 years ago. And if you own a house with your husband or with your wife, and you both don't owe the money, you might be able to keep your house if only one of you files. So there's a lot of ways to keep your assets to be able to start over. A credit card company sends out 5 billion pre-approved credit offers a year, in addition to calling people and trying to get people to sign up for credit. But it only takes one outside event, a medical problem, illness, job termination, or some unexpected emergency, and people who have been going paycheck to paycheck all of a sudden are late on a credit card bill, their interest rate skyrockets, and all of a sudden the minimum payments go way up and they can't afford to pay their bills anymore. 1 in every 71 households in America filed bankruptcy in 2005. Out of those people, 57% went to college or graduate school, 58% owned homes, 70% had good jobs. This financial crisis is striking at the heart of middle-class America, and it's a good answer for many people in financial trouble to be able to start over and get your lives back on track. So Tom and I are going to cover some basics about bankruptcy. I think we'll start with procedure involved, what to expect. Want to take that? Sure.
All right, well, the bankruptcy process begins right where you folks are, which is you got to make a decision that you're even interested in filing bankruptcy. We have a packet available here at the back of the room. If you guys haven't picked one up, you might want to take a look at it. I'll tell you, it's a fairly thick packet. It can look very daunting, but once you get through that packet, we've done the lion's share of the work for bankruptcy. So it's important that we get all the information that we ask for in there, or at the very least most of it, then we can kind of fill in the blanks later on. So it's important that we get that information kind of close to the beginning of the process. When you set an appointment with our office, come in, spend a couple of hours with an attorney, setting up the bankruptcy petition, filling in all the appropriate blanks, and then once we go through that process, there may be some additional documents. We'll ask you for those, give you a list. You can take it back with you and get them back into us as soon as possible. Filing the petition. We file it with the bankruptcy court. They do a couple of things. They issue a case number. They also then schedule your 341 hearing. That case number is important because it can help you with your creditors when they're calling you. Some of them get notification of bankruptcy right away and they have to stop talking to you. However, some of them may not be on that list. They may be waiting for the mail to come in. Sometimes it takes a while. Once the mail gets there, for them to process it and get you off their list. So when they're telling you about, when they're calling you looking for money, one of the quickest ways to get them to stop talking to you is to give them your case number. Tell them about bankruptcy. They have to stop talking to you. Okay? That 341 hearing, that's the point when you go and you talk to the trustee. The trustee is there. He's an attorney appointed by the Department of Justice to work on behalf of the creditors. His job is just to make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed in your petition, and to go through and make sure that there's no unprotected property that he can take and sell to satisfy the creditors, either in whole or in part. That hearing, if you're filing in Virginia, is going to be down in Woodstock. If you're in the Western District, it's in West Virginia. If you're from West Virginia, it'll be in Martinsburg. You go down there, show up, talk to the trustee for a few minutes. It's a fairly informal setting, although you will be testifying under oath and in front of several other people whose hearings are scheduled for that time. Those hearings last about 5 or 10 minutes. It's pretty short. But he asks you a series of questions, most of which you will have answered in going through the appointment and filling out the packet at any rate. So it's stuff that you'll be familiar with. He's not going to quiz you necessarily on the particulars of your petition, but he will ask you about your life and about your financial circumstances that kind of brought you to the bankruptcy point. Okay? He may ask a couple of probing questions. It's his chance to investigate, and once he's done, once he's satisfied with your answers, he'll release you. And at some point there in the next week or so, he'll schedule your discharge date. That discharge date will be about 60 days or so after that hearing, and that's the end of the bankruptcy. Assuming he doesn't go through your petition and see that he needs anything else, that